So what happens is both are influencing each other. Your morality or your personal ethics is going to influence your public ethics, and public ethics is going to influence your personal ethics, no doubt. So social revolution, movement, etc. happens because you don't agree with the public ethics because it is different from your moral values or your private ethics. It is the same for that person, irrespective of context. It may vary from person to person, but public ethics remains the same for a particular context. Okay, in that context, everybody will be abiding by that ethics. Okay. Is that understood? Like, say, for example, they used to practice racial discrimination, racial apartheid in South Africa, in America, caste discrimination in India. If somebody decided not to, so when we say ethics in private relationship, in an informal setting, how you conduct yourself to ensure that you abide by those ethical standards in private relationship. Okay, ethics in public relationship or ethics in a formal settings. If you think about it, ethics in private relationship is more to do with your inner idea of what is right and what is wrong, whereas ethics in public relationship is more to do with external environment and external norms and rules that is enforced on us. Now, if you are in an office setting, what is your conduct in an office setting is determined by the ethical code of conduct that is set by that organization. Is that okay? So in this way, when we compare, see, ethics, we have already discussed what it is, right or wrong. Now, ethics in private relationship, that means what and how we conduct ourselves in private relationship. If you see, it is influenced by morality, and we said morality is something inward looking. It is inside, from within, right? And it based on personal interest and emotional state. And it is informal in nature, meaning you don't have any formal or external agencies that is controlling our actions. It is we who is controlling. See, within a family, your actions are based on morality, internal. Okay, and you control your actions also through that emotional aspect, informally. There is no formal mechanism. It's not again a proper what do you say, black and white situation, but more times you rely on your morality, internal feeling, to determine what is correct and what is wrong. If you compare that with the ethics in public relationship, you see that it is more formal in nature. It is more predictable because it is expected you to behave in a particular manner. Okay, either it could be in the form of laws, norms, etc., or it can be enforced by the society, whatever it is. But it is mainly external in nature. In public relationship, a person follows ethical behavior in context of external rules and regulation. Let me give you just a simple example. Okay, let's say our society is patriarchal. As an example, patriarchal means men are dominant, or whatever is done in the interest of men. Is that okay? So a person may treat his wife with lot of love, affection equally in his house, but outside he is subjected to the same patriarchal rule that is enforced by the society. Have you seen this happen? Okay, so within the family they are different, within outside situation they are different because they are subjected to external influence. Okay, within the house they may be different. So can you give any other example? Was this okay, or there could be some other example? See, within the personal relationship it will be different, but externally it will be different in a formal setup. I could think of patriarchy. Anything else you can think of? Yes, are you understanding? So within that they are judged by the morality. You might have also seen people say disregard caste system. All of you might agree, a caste is bad, okay, it's not good, etc. But in a formal setup, let's say politics, elections, etc., or rather when when you want to get married, or when you are getting married, or when you got married, you looked at caste. Yes. So here what is happening? You believe personally, morally, that everybody is equal. That is your moral standards. You don't do such kind of discrimination. But externally, in formal setup, in your caste association, when you go and get prizes from there after clearing the exam, that time you will see, yes, our caste is backward. We need to fight and try and uphold our. So here you get what I'm trying to say. So there is a little bit of difference. Why? Because morality is from within, informal, and your public relationship may your ethical standards are determined by this. Okay, so what happens is both are influencing each other. Your morality or your personal ethics is going to influence your public ethics, and public ethics is going to influence your personal ethics, no doubt. Okay, and sometimes there can be conflict also. Conflict can be good, conflict can be bad also. See, for example, okay, when you don't agree with the public ethics based on your personal ethics and you fight against it, that is when social reforms takes place. What is social reforms? Social reform movements, let's say Gandhi ji fought against this one, Ambedkar fought, okay, fought against what? Public ethics. Okay, Martin Luther King, or Abraham Lincoln, they fought against what? They fought against segregation, which was a part of public ethics. It was considered to be correct, but they fought against it. Okay, when there is disharmony between personal ethics and public ethics, good thing that can happen is what? That social reforms can happen. You get what I'm trying to say? So this is what is person. So it is influenced by morality, because it is emotional in nature, it is informal in nature, and actions are controlled from within. If you don't follow this, what will happen? You will feel bad, you will have sleepless nights. Okay, there is no external punishment. The context has no role to play, meaning in every context your private ethics, your personal ethics is going to remain the same, whereas public ethics, it varies. As a doctor it will be different, as a lawyer it will be different. Okay, it is based on emotional bond, and it's an expression of individual's personality. Real self is presented in most cases, whereas in public ethics or public conduct, sometimes that person may be talking all about women right, etc., but when he comes back home, he expects his wife to cook, he expects his daughter not to do higher education, but outside may he might be giving speech. Correct? No, like for example, politicians, they may say we are jatyatita, that, this, etc., but otherwise personally they will be all like, oh, if they marry outside the caste, then they will go and you know uh, send, I mean whatever, excommunicate their own daughters also, right? So real self is presented in case of private ethics. Formal ethics, it's not like that. Okay, differs widely from person to person, but public ethics are more or less same, because it is external. Organization is putting this ethical standards. In any society, morality forms the basis of ethical behavior in public relationship. So large number of people, their private ethics becomes the public ethics. Did you understand? Public ethics is influenced by private ethics, right? What is ethics in public relations? Public predictable and formal and all of that. Person follow ethical behavior in context of external rules and regulation. Okay, so ethics shown during public relation is influenced by norms, values, and behavior prevailing in any particular society, external. Okay, so it comes to play at different level, hierarchy, international, national, socio-cultural, and political and other organizational level. So it varies. Over here, it is always the same. Where is that? It does not vary. It is the same for that person, irrespective of context. It may vary from person to person, but public ethics remains the same for a particular context. Okay, in that context, everybody will be abiding by that ethics. Okay, so that is what it is, but it can vary from context to context. Do you understand? Private ethics do not vary in context. It remains the same. If you are patriarchal, it will remain same irrespective of context. If you are, justice oriented, it will remain the same irrespective of context. Here it can vary. At international level, you will have different ethics. National level, organizational level, etc. It can vary. Okay. So a question like this can be asked. The right balance of harmony and conflict between ethics in private and ethics in public relationship are important for the good of the society. We will see that. First, you write down this. Give the heading ethics in private relationships. Ethics in private relationship is influenced by morality, meaning from within, and it depends on individual's emotional state and personal interest. Okay, this ethics in private is informal in nature, meaning it is not codified. You don't have list of norms and conducts, etc. It is informal. It's not clear cut. It is more emotional in nature, and it is controlled through internal mechanism. Okay. External mechanism means like punishments given by the society. Okay. They may be penalized. They may be put in jail, or they may be ridiculed by the society. Here it's not like that. It is internal. You feel remorse. You feel sad when you do it, when you violate those ethics. Can you write on your own, right? When you violate your private, ethics in private relationship, okay, what you feel is internal pain, sorrow, sadness. So the control is informal, okay, and internal in nature. Context has no role to play here, meaning you put in any situation, your relationship, your personal ethics is going to be the same. It is based on emotion. It expresses individual's personality. Real self is presented in most cases, differs widely from person to person. Might have different moral standards. Your uncle may have different moral standards. Your auntie may have different moral standards. Okay. Why? Because their value system is different. So next chapter, when we do values, it will be more clear how values are shaped in our society. Okay. Next, ethics in public relationships. Is that okay? So basically, ethics in what do you say? Public forum, in your public interaction. When you interact in a formal setup, that ethics is called as ethics in public relations. Ethics in public relation. Okay, in a formal setup. Okay, so public relations are predictable and formal in nature. Why predictable? Because they are external in nature. They are generally stated, either written or unwritten, but they are stated. Okay, Indian society may, you know, what is considered to be ethical. It may be not written, but still you know what is ethical in Indian society. Correct. The kind of dress you are supposed to wear when you go out. Okay, it is stated. It may not be written. Okay, but it is clear to the member of that society. Is that okay? Fine. So legal or social obligations are there. Legal, okay, legislatures, or social. Now, caste marriage, caste endogamy. Caste endogamy, meaning marrying within the caste. Is there any rule like that? There is no rule, but there are societal norms that you are supposed to marry within the same caste. So therefore, it is predictable. It is formal in nature. And when you violate, what will happen? When we violate this norm, right? There could be punishment. People might stop talking to you. You may be ridiculed, right? So these are the way in which it is. So person follow these behavior in context of external rules and regulations. Ethics shown during public relations. These are often influenced by the norms, values, and of a particular society. We don't like it varies, therefore. Okay, from one context to another. If you take an European society, its public relationship ethics is different. In India, even if you come little late, it is okay. Nobody bothers about it. But let's say in Japan, you come little bit late, they consider it to be very immoral. I'm actually telling you. So it is like that in Japan. They don't worry about a lot of other things, but for them, time indicates a value that you give to the other person. So if you are 1 minute late, you are an immoral person. India may 5 minutes can be almost half a day long. Correct? No. So there is no immorality in that. So this is ethics in public relationship. Now you tell me, when there is harmony between private ethics and public ethics, or ethics in private and ethics in public. Okay. So if there is harmony, what is the outcome of it? What is the outcome? So the outcome can be both positive as well as negative. If you abide by the public ethics in your personal life, okay, or personal life ka ethics you abide by in public ethics, there is kind of peace and harmony in yourself. And the society also, there is peace and harmony. Whenever there is a conflict, whenever there is a conflict between your private ethics with that of public ethics, what is going to happen? Okay, the positive aspect of it is it can lead to social change. Yes or no? Can it lead to social change? Like, for example, if you don't agree with caste discrimination, you don't agree with corruption, because your private ethics says so. Okay, corruption leave, it's not public ethics also. Let's say caste system. Okay, so that as a tradition or custom is prevalent. So if you go against it, then social change, positive social change can occur. So social revolution, movement, etc., happens because you don't agree with the public ethics because it is different from your moral values or your private ethics. So you revolt against it. This can bring about positive change. So people who have fought for racial discrimination, people who have fought against, that example is civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is what? When you did not agree with public ethics and you fought against it. And this leads to reforms. Okay, it leads to positive social change. Similarly, if it is negative, then what will happen? It is going to lead to conflict in the society. It can lead to conflict in the society. So that both can happen. It can lead to positive change. It can lead to conflict. Okay, so over here there is a table to explain, or a flow chart. So relationship between ethics in private and public. Whenever there is harmony, okay, if there is too much of harmony between the public ethics and private ethics, then it can lead to stagnation, curb original thinking, and curb new ideas from coming. It leads to conformity and adherence to group thinking. Are you able to understand? Example, okay, prevalence of or continuation of caste system. You don't want to change because you are simply agreeing with the public ethics. But at the same time, it can also lead to peace and harmony in the society. That's the positive aspect. The negative aspect is it can lead to stagnation. You don't change. Is that understood? Like, say, for example, they used to practice racial discrimination, racial apartheid in South Africa, in America, caste discrimination in India. If somebody decided not to disagree with that, then what would have happened? It would have led to, if somebody had not disagreed with that and led to harmony, it would have led to this. Similarly, there are so many things which are good in the society, against corruption, against violence, etc. If somebody starts questioning everything that is there in the society, then it may lead to disruption of peace and harmony. Okay, it promotes, it goes against the well-being. If your ethics is different and the public ethics is different, you will feel remorse and sad, and every time you are not able to justify your actions. Next, if there is conflict, okay, it may lead to what? Socio-cultural changes. It may lead to reforms in change in political ideology. Okay, too much of conflict between private and public ethics, you might feel, okay, sad, disillusioned, etc. So may lead to disintegration of society. It may lead to absence of law and order. Too much of civil, like see what is happening, Naxalism. Okay, so they are in conflict with the public ethics. So it may lead to law and order problem. It may even affect the legitimacy of the government. It may be challenged. So this way, okay, harmony also can cause problem. Harmony can lead to progress or positive change. I mean, peace and harmony. Okay, whereas conflict can also lead to positive change, but it can also lead to law and order problem. So therefore, a right balance is required, okay, in the society where you question certain values, but at the same time you abide by certain values or certain ethical standards. So therefore, you need a right balance, okay, of harmony and conflict between public and private ethics. Only then we can ensure good in the society. If you want to eradicate social evils, we have to question the public ethics. If you want peace and harmony, you have to abide by public ethics. So a right balance is required. Now, because it's all subjective, what is the right balance is questionable again. But a right balance has to be met. So this can be met through certain values which can be considered universal. What are those universal values? Again, we don't have objective criteria to decide what is a universal value. But generally, if we apply rationality, we can consider honesty, justice, truth, etc. as universal values which needs to be protected. So therefore, if we work towards attaining a harmony between private and public ethics based on these values, then we can ensure good of the society, is what we can conclude for this particular question. I'll repeat again. So what we have been discussing now, one important topic, private ethics and public ethics. Private ethics is my personal ethics, what I believe is right and wrong from within. Whereas ethics in public relationship is what I believe is ethical in social discourse, in a social context. And that is determined by external source. It can be law, it can be rules, it can be norms, etc. It is imposed from outside. It can be religion also. Correct? No. So many religion tells you certain things. Okay, our religion can say, male should be treated like this, female should be treated like this, male should wear this clothes, female should wear this clothes, male should go here, female should not go here. Isn't this a source of ethics external? It is clear cut. Okay, see for example, temple entry movement in history and in today modern also, where women are not allowed in certain temples was there, or Supreme Court, etc. Now, if you follow that external ethics, even in your private ethics, it's going to do what? It's going to perpetuate what? Social evils, discrimination, lack of thinking, and nobody would question why it is. They would just follow because somebody has done it. Are you understanding? So now when you question that based on your private ethics, right, you can bring about social change. But if you start questioning everything, then, right, I will do this, what is your problem? then it can lead to law and order problem. I don't want to ensure, uh, uphold the constitutional values, etc. If I start doing that based on my private ethics, then it can also cause disharmony in the society. So therefore, you need to have, so private, public ethics, their differences, okay, and how, okay, if it is in harmony, what will happen? Positive and negative. When it is in conflict, what will happen? Positive and negative. Understood, all of you? Okay. So you have written ethics in private relationship, ethics in public relationship. Write down this question. So how will you structure this answer? Okay. Right balance of harmony and conflict between ethics in private and public relationship is important for good of the society. Okay. So you can introduce this. Okay. You can write down ethics. You can just define what is ethics, or you can define what is private and public ethics. Yes. Okay. After that, you will go on to write, okay, if there is harmony between public and private ethics, it can cause good. It can, then you will write, it can also cause bad or whatever. Same way, you can say when it is in conflict, it can lead to good, that is social change. If it is in conflict, negative is, it can lead to social problem. And then you have to give examples. Is that okay? So that can be the structure. And then the right balance has to be met, and that can be determined by our values. Okay, we have to abide that our actions, whether in private or public, abide by certain universal values like justice, honesty, truth, okay, protection of rights, etc. Whatever we have discussed earlier. So if these universal values, okay, will help us decide what kind of balance they should be. When should you violate? So if, see, for example, if there are certain public ethics which is violating certain universal value of justice, if it is violating justice, then you should go against it. If it is not violating any universal principles or values, then there is no need for you to go against it, be in harmony with it. So if there is harmony between external ethics and internal ethics, then there is emotional and mental well-being. We are in peace, right? It promotes peace and society, harmony of the society externally. Internally, we will be happy. We won't feel guilty, correct? You might not feel guilty of violating the social norms. But negative aspect of harmony is if you abide by it, and even if it is wrong, if it is violating the universal values, then it may lead to stagnation of the society. It won't progress. We will still have that archaic mindset, like the Talibans. They don't want people to question them. So it has led to stagnation, curb original thinking, okay, and new ideas, and conformity and adherence to group decisions. So conclusion may, such harmony and conflict are inevitable, and we can address this through abiding by certain universal values. And the one answer, if you have anything else also, you can write. See, if I have to decide whether I should go against public ethics or I should go in harmony with that, it will be some universal values like justice, honesty, etc. Based on that, I will going to decide whether I should go in harmony or not. Now, for example, you take example of Gandhiji or Ambedkar or any other such personalities. They have also gone in harmony with certain value, certain private and public ethics, but they have also gone in conflict. What did they go against? They went against, those things which were violating the principles of justice, principles of equality. Why Britishers should be treated differently than the others? Online go kalsidirala. Okay, so this is what the universal values will come into picture. Again, we will discuss this fundamental, values later again. But now I'm telling you, then there are certain values which are universal. Hangu baribodu. Then you can rely on what? Rely on certain moral principles. That's where we wrote, started the class also. So you can abide by certain moral principles. If they violate those moral principles, I say from my point of view that I abide by certain universal values. like honesty. I will say honesty, no matter what, is correct. Maybe if you are a religious person, whatever your religion says, that becomes the deciding factor whether you should go in harmony or conflict. If you see, Gandhiji was a little bit more religious. So he relied on Hindu scriptures or Hindu philosophies to take certain actions. Ambedkar was not so much like that. Okay, he was not, he was more atheist in nature, at least towards the end, became more atheist. So, meaning what? Did not rely on that. He relied on universal principles like justice, equality, and all of that. So, your harmony and disharmony can be decided by that. See, it's very subjective. Yav tara questions keltare, it is up to them. But the way you integrate all of this and write is up